On this boat, we have one that's hanging up downstairs, just in front of the galley that you can take a look at throughout the day if you want to see just how large this area is. Now, the other thing that he's going to do, if they haven't yet, is they'll come around with those soup cards. Make sure if you don't want clam chowder to get rid of those vegetarian soup cards from what there is, they do that. Now, I'll be on the microphone quite a bit this morning. Then, of course, I'll talk about the highlights throughout the day, but I promise I won't narrate all day long for you. You'll have plenty of time without me on the microphone. We are going to be on the boat a while together, about 6 hours. Should get back to the dock, though, about 6:30 this evening, or excuse me, 1:30 this afternoon. When we'll be back to the dock. And just always like to remind folks, a really light load this morning, just 44 of you on this boat that can take up to 150 people. And so when we see things today, make sure you spread out and take a look at things. Oftentimes we'll see a well and I've got 30 of the 44 people swarming me here in the bridge and trying to take photos of each other. Just remember, the whole boat is yours, and so spread out and take advantage of that. When we see things, we had 9 Alaskan Native villages at its peak. Today we have 3. But there was never an establishment here in the Port of Valdez. Likely due to the weather. Of course, we got nice weather for us now, but in the winter time, we get a lot of snow. We get up to 300 inches of snow at sea level in town. So people didn't, in those days, use the Port of Valdez here all year, just in the summer months for hunting, fishing, things like that. And then it wasn't until the mid-1700s that some European explorers found the area. Of course, Captain Cook was the first in, and then other countries followed after that. Spain, because notably after Spain would have been Russia. And then above it is a very faint stripe. That is the wind as well. That is a lichen that grows all around here at the upper reaches of our highest tides. It does take a little salt water, fresh air, and sunlight to grow. So when you see that big black stripe, it's how high our highest tides will be. We have semi-diurnal tides, just a fancy way to say 2 tides, 2 rows a day. Down to about 12 feet of water between them. Today it looks like we've got about 15 feet of water. And then right at the full moon, we can get maybe 18 feet of water. When we get close to land like this, we don't get look at the trees and not just like they grow straight out of the blocks. Just like you hear in the sound, we have vegetation that's called musket. It looks like blocks. It's very spongy. It's a lot of water and nutrients, and it's what helps fish. just race down the side of the mountain. They take the easiest path for them. So they'll take mountain valleys and wind and weave around. Two arms wide, like back around the mountain. Join up together to continue the downward descent as a much bigger part of the ice. And so Columbia does that. It takes it 20 miles to get from its accumulation zone down here to sea level. Now, as a glacier advances like that, it's pushing everything in its path out of heaven. Anything it comes into contact with that isn't solid evidence. So trees, rocks, sort of thing. So anything that we see out here today that is 3 feet or less in size, that's what is called brash ice. If it's 3 to 7 feet, that's a grounder. 7 to 15 feet is a pretty big, and anything more than 15 feet is a true ice. Columbia puts off quite a bit, and it's a pretty big glacier and really icebergs. And we do that. And just kind of pointed at a weird piece here. I'm going to make a turn and get it off the right-hand side as we go. Typically, I like to spend a lot of time and go around the 50 in this area for some travel safety. And put it on the shoulder itself. You can see some of that. And so what the blue means is that the ice crystals are still very tightly compacted. It's very, very dense. And so long colors of the light spectrum, like red and yellow, this doesn't have the ability with these ice to bounce around and reflect out to our eyes. Those colors are just going to get absorbed. And blue is also the easiest at that faster spectrum for the design of our eyes to see. And so if you drew a rainbow, blue is kind of towards the bottom because it's short and fast. And so it can condense ice back to us. And then as this ice sits here and just goes to the air, it's going to melt. There's going to get a lot of gaps in between all those ice crystals. And then eventually all the colors can get in, and it just makes it look large when they reflect back to us. And clouds actually help. We'll see more blue ice on a cloudy day or a sunny day like this because clouds filter out a lot of those yellow and skinny ones. As you can see, even in summer, you can still see ice blue ice on this piece of ice. Well, there's also a lot of dirty ice around this. If you look close, this piece is just beyond the blue one, covered in debris, rocks, earth, silt. And that's just all the material of the glacier that cloud poured out of it as it advanced down to sea level all those years ago. Now that old saying that the tip of the iceberg is very true. Here we're seeing about 10 to 15% of a piece of ice above the water. The other 85 to 90% is below. And the ocean is melting at much faster than first of all the ice that we see right now is melting. Because of how warm the ocean is and how little heat energy it takes to melt ice. It has a very high specific heat the ocean does. So it's going to melt faster in the water than in the air. Eventually, the piece is going to become toxic. Like the roots of turquoise. This is going to either flip all the way over, or just gradually flip to the left. So we feel it's more contaminated because it's so many times eventually it breaks apart into little pieces. And that's the gradual turn and you just keep it on self the right hand side. So if you're wondering just a size comparison at the top of it there, and again, we're only seeing about 10% of it. If you're up here on the upper deck with me, we're about 20 feet. Well, it's definitely not the bluest ice that it's a big piece of ice, nonetheless. So pretty cool to be able to get this close to it and have a look. That is
en la Comelata. Por aquí Mayri y Mariby tienen dos sopitas de ¿qué es eso?
Clam chowder.
Ah, ok, clam chowder. Yo cuando lo escuché por primera vez no lo entendí bien y creía que era como que la versión en inglés de hombro de payaso. Anyway, espero que les caiga bien, que esté buena. Yo me estoy comiendo una sopita ahí de chili, que está lo más buena.
Va a ser vegetariana, vegana.
Y nada, paramos a comer porque ya no quiero la comida. Está todo el mundo corriendo de lado a lado para ver un pedazo de hielo, de glaciar, que se viró, se volcó. Pero como ya nosotros hemos estado hartos de los glaciares, pues nos vinimos a comer.
No mal. No mal. Es más hambre que glaciar nuevo.
Exacto. En estos momentos entre glacial, comida.
Y ya vimos glaciares, ya llevamos dos. Este es el tercero.
2 días con glaciares.
Así que
Ya caminamos.
los tocamos, le pasamos por
Well,
debajo.
as we kind of back away from it, I'll get it turned and off the right-hand side of the boat so you can see it there. And then again, we'll get up to speed after that, get underway.
Un pedacito de hielo ahí. explicando ahorita a la gente del color azul intenso que tienen. Y esos colores son por dos razones. La presión que hay donde se forma ese hielo, pues hace que las moléculas queden más compactas. Entonces la cantidad de sedimento que tiene, lo que hace es que crea un efecto donde no se filtra bien diferentes colores a través del hielo, y el que más predomina es el azul cuando se ve de día el sol. Pero pues ya pasó, así que vamos a seguir comiendo. Bueno, yo no pude parar, no pude aguantar la tentación, así que tuve que venir aquí al Valdez Brewery
Valdez Brewery.
a probar la cervecita. Aquí estamos. Aquí una limonadita, 2 cervezas, y Bailey me está ayudando con la cerveza también. Salud.
Strawberry, limeade.